Hi everybody, here we are again to watch the fourth video of Dan-Åke Mattsson, who wrote chapter 4 and chapter 5 of the book entitled The God of the Bible, Dio della Bibbia, published by Land University Press. He shares some insights about the Christological reading of Proverbs chapter 8 and a very interesting alternative reading of Zechariah chapter 12 verse 10. Well, is it really alternative? Or it's better to say original? Let's see what Dan-Åke Mattsson has to say about it. Dan-Åke, the floor is yours.
My contribution to the book are two chapters. The first one has the title What, When and Who. And it is a discussion about Proverbs chapter 8 verses 22 through 31. And it's talk about the wisdom. In the beginning of the chapter, I start to giving a brief introduction to biblical Hebrew poetry. And the reason for that is that Hebrew poetry can be used in this discussion as a tool to find the right meaning of a word. Because when we look up a Hebrew word in a dictionary, we get several English words that cover the Hebrew word. For example, I discussed the Hebrew verb kana, and according to dictionaries, you find several words. For example, it means acquire, it means buy, own, beget, produce, bring forth, create. So which of these words was it the author meant? And here the poetry can help us. It can be a tool. Because the form of the Hebrew poetry the author used here in Proverbs 8, it's called synonym parallelism. And it means to use synonyms to express the same thought. So parallelism, it means that you use synonyms to express the same thought. So it's seldom that the Hebrew poetry is like our part of the word. They seldom use rhyme, but it's more the thoughts they use. And to the word kana, we find there in the context there are three words, and that helps us to understand what kana means in the context in Proverbs 8:22. After the discussion about the poetry, I have divided the discussion about Proverbs 8 in three parts, as the title shows. So I first discuss what happened, and then when what happened, and then who is the wisdom. In the part what happened, among many other things, I look into the King James Version because it's a known translation, and many other translations have followed that way to translate particularly verse 22. So I ask, is the King James Version the best way to translate it? I give my opinion in the chapter. The second part is when did what happened, and here I analyze 9 Hebrew words, and then I drew a conclusion, and I think it's a very logical conclusion. You have to read it and judge for yourself. In the third section, And I think it's the most interesting part. Who is the wisdom? Is it a queen? Because some scholars say or claim that the wisdom is a queen. And it is discussed. But the most common opinion is that many says that the wisdom is the Son of God. And what reasons or what arguments are there to say so? And again, you have to read the chapter, and I think you have to judge for yourself. And this was the first chapter. The second chapter I have written has the title Zechariah 12:10, me or him. Because there are some issues when we come to the Hebrew text here in Zechariah 12:10. Some parts of it can illustrate it. I will read from the Jerusalem Bible. They render it in part. They will look at the one whom they have pierced. Jerusalem Bible and many others says that. But the New International Version and many other translations says they will look on me, the one they have pierced. So the difference is who is pierced? That's the question. Is it me, the God, or is it the one or him? So in this chapter I discuss what is the most likely translation.